Okay, welcome back. Now that we have our chain code ready for use, we're going to deploy it to our network. And then we're going to deploy an API to interact with that chain code. And we're going to basically transact with the two organizations. So here we have our setup. We have organization one, we have organization two, we have a sales group, and we have our chain code built here, sales CC, right? So if you haven't seen the previous video, so you can actually know what we did with sales CC, I suggest you go watch that and then come back to this video. So let's go into our business group. And on our business group, we actually can see on the chain codes page that we don't have any chain code so far on main channel. So what we can do is click on add chain code. We're going to select our channel. We're going to see that our sales CC is here. Okay, so we can select that. And I'm going to select the peer. So here I have the peer of organization one because I'm doing this as organization one. But once I create this proposal, the organization two will be able to choose its own peer as well. So we're going to add chain code, and this is going to create a proposal. Okay, so you're going to remember that everything on GoFabric on a business group is made through proposals, right? So organization one is proposing to add this particular chain code to the channel, right? So you can see that you already approved it because it's the one proposing, and organization has not approved it yet. So what we need to do is to approve it with organization two. For that, we're going to go into organization two. We're going to go into sales group. And here we have the add chain code proposal. So now we can approve that. Just going to click on confirm. And now I can select organization two's peer. So I can accept that. And now I can see that my add chain code proposal has now started. So now we're going to wait until this finishes. This takes a couple of minutes. This is going to go through the lifecycle of the chain code for Hyperledger Fabric. And if you don't know what that is exactly, I suggest you go back to the Fabric concepts video. But the lifecycle, the chain code lifecycle, is a process that installs the chain codes on the peers. Then with each one of the organization approves the definition of that chain code, and then it commits that chain code to the ledger. Okay, so that's when it becomes available for actual use. So we're gonna have to wait that finish, and then we'll be right back. Okay, great. So our chain code is now ready, and we can actually see it right here. And if we go to our peers, we can actually see that our peer logs are going to show logs related to that chain code. So you can see that it committed a block. This is probably related to the commit of the chain code. And you can see that we have now a chain code with package ID sales CC, now available on channel main channel for chain code definition sales CC on version 1.0. Okay, perfect. So what we need to do now for us to interact with it is to create an API, okay? So we're gonna go here on organization one, okay? And on the APIs tab, we can actually create our API, right? So we're gonna click on new CC API, and we're gonna choose a host. So I'm gonna go with the first VM. I'm gonna choose the API type. I'm gonna choose the channel. I'm gonna choose the chain code, and I'm gonna submit this. Okay, great. So now we have our chain code API, and this chain code API actually comes with a Swagger. So I can just go to the address and I can see the Swagger here. So the Swagger is going to have operations for, basic invocation of the chain code. So this is interesting because API is really flexible because it's going to allow you to call any transaction. It's also going to allow you to call different channels and chain codes. In this particular case, we're going to have a channel, a chain code, which is set by default. But also you can query blocks with this API as well, with this particular endpoints. Okay, great. So we could interact with this blockchain here. Okay, so I can actually query the schema of data that I have. So I can click here, try it out, execute, and I can see the schema of the data. So I can see that I have an asset called product type. I have an asset called sale, and I have an asset called company. And also I have this other asset type list asset, which is actually used internally. But we have a much cleaner way of interacting with this particular blockchain. So we're going to go back into org1, and we're going to create this particular resource called GoInitus. Okay, and you're going to see in a bit what GoInitus is. So I'm going to choose the host. And now on GoInitus, I can click here. And now it's going to connect to my API. And you can see it that it is connected to the API of organization 1 because of this title. And you can see that's connected to sales CC on version 1.0. And here on the sidebar, I can actually see the assets that we have, that we defined, okay? So you can see the product type, sale, company, and I can actually create stuff from here, okay? So I'm gonna just do a simple creation. So for example, I'm gonna call this product 001. It's going to be the ID, for example, and this product is going to be called boat A for some reason. And I'm going to submit this, okay? So you can see now that I have this listed here, right? And this is all obviously going to be available for organization 2 because that's a blockchain. Or the PR from organization 2 is going to be receiving that block. And when organization 2 interacts with it, it's going to be able to query that state. And we can actually do that by creating a chaincode API for organization 2 and interacting with the ledger as well. So we're going to go into organization 2 APIs. We're going to create it here. Just a simple setup. I'm going to submit this. And then we're going to create GoInitus as well. Okay, now clicking on GoInitus, it's going to load organization 2's environment. And if I come here into product type, I can actually see that product 1 is a boat A, and I can actually check the history, and I can see that organization 1 created that, okay? And since I can interact with it, I can come here into product type and create my product type, for example, right? Product 002, it's going to be boat B. And now we have boat B here. Great. And I can see if I update this, I can see that now I have this product of product 2 on organization 1's environment as well. Great. So now let's do the sales setup that we defined, okay? So for that, I already have product types here, so that's good. But I do not have companies at the moment, okay? So I'm going to create a company. So let's say that we are creating org1 as a company here. And just so we can keep the standard, I'm going to create org2's company with the org2 environment. So let's go create this org2. Okay. Great. Perfect. So now let's say that organization 2 is recording a sale that it has made for organization 1. Okay. So it can come here and create a sale. It's going to select a product. So let's say that it just sold product 2. It just sold 40 units of that. It sold it today. And you can actually provide the time. So now it's 3:48 p.m. And the seller is going to be org2 and the buyer is going to be org1. And now I can see that my first sale has been recorded here. So I can see the references of those assets. I can see the date. I can see the reference for seller and buyer. I can see the history as well. And organization 1, we'll be able to see that as well. Okay. So this brings us to an end to our first set of videos. We have a working network, and by taking each one of those videos separately, you're able to reproduce operations and expand the network in many ways, right? So if I need to create a second organization, you can use the same steps that we used for creating organization 2 and for joining that organization to this particular business group that already exists. So you can create any amount of organizations that you want. You can create any amount of peers that you want. You can create chain codes. You can create many channels. You can create many chain codes inside a channel. And now you have a complete set of tools for working with Hyperledger Fabric networks using GoFabric. We want to keep making these videos, so let us know if you like them. Let us know if you have any questions and what would you want to see more on the platform. And thank you for watching.